Personal rapid transit. How it works, why it matters, and what's next. Hey, I'm G. Let me ask you, have you ever wondered how personal transit works? Maybe you've imagined a fleet of small, driverless pods whisking you from a subway station to your office without ever stopping for anyone else. Today, we're diving into the nuts and bolts of PRT, its history, the politics that surround it, and the road ahead. Welcome to The Stuff You Should Think About, where I tackle everyday questions about the phenomena and objects that surround us in quick bite-sized episodes. I do the digging so you don't have to, and I bring the answers back in a way you can read on your break, listen on your commute, or whenever you've got a little free time. Before we get started, just a quick heads up. I'm not a transportation engineer or a city planning professor. I'm a curious person who spent the last few months poring over white papers, municipal reports, and interviews with a handful of PRT enthusiasts so you don't have to. My goal isn't to tell you what to think or what to do. It's to explain how the system works from a big picture perspective, point out where the debates lie, and give you enough context to form your own opinion. Understanding a technology as layered as personal rapid transit is a bit like assembling a Lego model. You need to see how each piece fits before the whole thing clicks into place. We're going to go through a typical pipeline for a PRT system broken into 6 logical steps. The first step is demand capture. This is when a rider taps a mobile app or kiosk to request a pod, selecting a departure and destination station. In the real world, this is like ordering a rideshare on your phone, except the driver is a computer algorithm. The next step is routing and scheduling. The control center, often a cloud-based server, calculates the quickest conflict-free route. It may group riders bound for the same corridor or keep a pod solo if privacy is requested. This is like a chess engine deciding the best move while avoiding collisions with other pieces. Next is a pod dispatch. This is where the system releases a pod from a parking bay or spine station into a dedicated guideway. Pods are typically 2 to 4 seats and 2 to 3 meters long and powered by electric motors. And this is like a train leaving a platform, except it's much smaller of a vehicle that can accelerate and decelerate rapidly. Next is guidance and propulsion. This is where sensors, LiDAR, RFD tags, magnetic strips continuously feed location data back to the central controller, which adjusts speed, ensures safe headways, usually 2 to 3 seconds, and monitors for obstacles. And this is like a self-driving car constantly reading the road ahead to stay in its lane. Next is boarding and alighting. This is where the doors open and passengers step out. Some systems use level boarding, which are pod floor aligned with platform, to make this seamless for everyone, including those with mobility challenges. And this is like a subway door opening directly into the platform, no steps, no gaps. Return or reposition is the last step. And this is like after unloading, The pod either returns to a home bay awaiting the next request or repositions itself to a more active part of the network, balancing supply and demand. And this is like a delivery truck returning to the depot after drop off, ready for the next job. The magic of PRT isn't a single miracle of technology, it's orchestration of demand capture software, real time routing algorithms, low speed electrical propulsion, and a purpose built guideway network that together create an on demand subway that feels personal. Even though personal rapid transit can trigger heated debates, is it a waste of public money versus will it reduce traffic congestion? There are a handful of points everyone seems to agree on. One being environmental benefits, and it resonates across the spectrum because electric pods produce zero tailpipe emissions, helping cities meet climate action goals. Another one is first mile, last mile solution. And this resonates because PRT can bridge the gap between a major transit hub and a workplace or home, a problem both commuters and planners acknowledge. Another one is reduced road footprint. And this resonates because guideways are narrow, often 2.5 meters wide, and elevated. They occupy far less surface area than a new road or a conventional light rail line. Another one is safety, and this resonates because dedicated guideways keep pods away from pedestrians and cars, dramatically lowering accident risk. These shared values provide a stable platform for constructive dialogue, even when the specifics, cost, and scalability or integration with existing transit are contested. Personal rapid transit isn't a brand new idea. The first serious prototypes appeared in the 1970s during the oil crisis, when engineers were desperately seeking alternatives to car-centric urban design. Notably, early attempts include MGM Grand's People Mover, 1975, a 2-kilometer loop in Las Vegas that demonstrates driverless pod technology, though it never expanded beyond a novelty ride. The 1975 Urbano concept by the German engineering firm Hensel, a vision of a network of small electric shuttles on elevated tracks, published in Transport Research. The 1990s saw a resurgence with the Masurian Skytrain system and the Personal Rapid Transit Research Program, funded by the U.S. Department of Transportation, DOT. Although none of these projects achieved commercial rollout, they laid the groundwork for the modern resurgence we see today. Some of the legal precedents and regulations include Federal Highway Administration Guidance 2020. The FHWA released guidelines for automated guideway transit, which treats PRT as a subset of automated guideway transit. This document clarifies design standards, safety criteria, and the need for public use risk assessments. Another one is a European Union regulation, 2021/802. EU's regulation on the approval and operation of automated public transport vehicles provide a clear certification pathway for driverless pods, mandating functional safety, ISO 26262, and cybersecurity, EN 303-645. Another one is local zoning, and right-of-way laws. Many cities, including Los Angeles, Austin, and Helsinki, have passed transit innovation ordinances that streamline the permitting process for elevated or underground guideways, recognizing that traditional road building permits are ill-suited for PRT. Understanding these legal scaffolds is crucial because they dictate how quickly a city can move from pilot to full-scale development and what safety certifications the manufacturers must obtain. I'll be honest, I'm an optimist about technology that puts people in control of their own mobility. I love the idea that a small electric pod can whisk me from a subway stop to my office without the endless search for a parking spot. That said, I also recognize my blind spots. One being economic realism. I tend to underestimate the capital cost of building elevated guideways in these dense urban cores. Another one is equity lens. While I'm excited about the convenience, I'm less sure how PRT can be made affordable for low-income neighborhoods without heavy subsidies. That's my lens. I'm sharing it to let you know where I'm standing so you can weigh my enthusiasm against the practical constraints. To put PRT in perspective, look at the transition from horse-drawn streetcars to electric trams in the early 20th century. Both were technological leaps that promised smooth rides, higher capacity, and lower pollution, yet the rollout was uneven. One was capital-intensive infrastructure. Cities had to lay tracks, build depots, and build new rolling stock. The lesson for PRT was modern PRT needs strategic pilot corridors where the cost-benefit ratio is highest, e.g., university campuses or business districts. Another thing is public skepticism. Early riders feared electric safety. And the lesson for PRT is today's riders worry about autonomy and data privacy. Both can be mitigated through transparent testing and clear regulations. Another one is integration with existing modes. Trams didn't replace buses, they complemented them. And the lesson for PRT isn't a subway substitute. It's a first last mile layer that should mesh with computer rail, bus rapid transit, and bike networks. The tram story reminds us that new transit tech rarely replaces old system outright. It augments them, and the success hinges on thoughtful integration and public trust. If the ultimate aim is fast, clean, on-demand urban mobility, there isn't a single silver bullet. Below are 3, plus a bonus, approaches that cities around the globe are testing. Traditional PRT, pod-based AGT, small electric pods on narrow elevated guideway, fully automated on-demand routing. It's happening in Masdar City, Morgantown, West Virginia, Vancouver, and SkyPod pilot of 2023. Autonomous shuttles on existing streets. These are driverless minibuses using existing road lanes with dynamic routing but no dedicated guideway. And this is happening in NEA's autonomous shuttle in Lyon, Easy Miles, Easy 10 in Helsinki. Another one is modular maglev pods. These are low-speed magnetic levitation pods that guide in a vacuum-sealed tube, offering near-silent operation. And these are happening in Hyperloop 1's loop test tracks in the USA and in the Swiss cerebral concept. Another one is shared micromobility hubs plus microtransit, and that one is a bonus. And these combine e-scooter bike docks with on-demand microbus routing. The pods are actually groups of micromobility devices coordinated by software. And this is happening in Berlin's Micromobile Pilot and San Francisco's Muni On Demand. None of these solutions is mutually exclusive. A city could start with autonomous street shuttles to prove the concept, then invest in dedicated PRT guideways for the busiest corridors, while micromobility hubs cover the ultra-short trips. The final mobility mix will likely be a patchwork quilt rather than a single monolithic system. So, what should you think about when it comes to personal rapid transit? Number one, it's a multi-stage process that starts with a digital request, runs through real-time routing, and ends with a quiet electric pod gliding along a narrow, usually elevated guideway. The technology itself is mature. Electric motors, lidar, automated control systems, but the system-level integration, how you weave it into existing transit, zoning, and financing, remains the biggest challenge. Common ground exists. Environmental gains, first last mile connectivity, safety, and a small physical footprint. Legal frameworks are emerging, especially in the US and EU, giving manufacturers clear pathways, but also imposing rigorous safety and cybersecurity standards. Historical analogs. The electric tram boom suggests that success depends on integration, public trust, and targeted pilots rather than citywide rollouts from day one. Multiple pathways would be the last one. And this is traditional PRT, street-level autonomous shuttles, maglev pods, and micromobility-centric microtransit can coexist, each solving a slice of the mobility puzzle. There's no single magic bullet. Instead, you have a toolbox of technologies, policies, and design strategies. The real work lies in picking the right combination for your city's unique geography, budget, and equity goals. That's it for this episode of The Stuff You Should Think About. Thanks for listening. If you found this deep dive helpful, hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss future episodes, where we can untangle everything from why elevators stop at every floor or how blockchain could or couldn't power smart grids. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think PRT could solve the first mile problem in your town? Drop a comment below or suggest a topic you'd like me to explore next. Until then, stay curious, keep asking questions, and remember, the future of transportation is already being built one pod at a time. This podcast is for informational purposes only. All statements are based on publicly available information.